Hi everyone, welcome along. Hope everybody is doing well today. Welcome to Steel Horse Station. We're here on it's Monday evening Australian time, so Monday morning in the UK and the US, depending on when you're joining us from. And hope you're got a good week planned. The plan for today is we're going to have a look at a new map. So if you've had an opportunity, I think I know FSG streamed on this map over the weekend. Argsy Gaming has done a terrific introductory video, which I've put the link in the description, and a map tour, and I liked what I saw, and I thought this would be a perfect one for us to get onto on Monday night and have a look at. And my first impression is that it fits the bill for a map a British map I've been waiting for a while. So let's not mess around. Let's jump right into it. So if I hit the correct buttons, and you should all now see the PDA for the map. So the first thing to note is it's quite busy. This is a 4X and therefore PC only map. To the best of my knowledge, there is no intention to release it on ModHub. So the link to the maker, Farm Sim Brisco, is the map maker. It's his first attempt at a map, and I can already tell I've spent maybe 45 minutes or an hour in it, plus watching a couple of things over the weekend, and I can tell you he's done an outstanding job for his first map. So it's a 4X map, which means it's 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers, so 4 times the regular map. As is pretty typical of the UK, fields are irregularly shaped, but not horribly so, and being a 4X map, there is a good range in size. So if we sort of come down to a field like field 81 down here, 5 hectares, one of the bigger fields on the map, 50 hectares. So there's a good range of sizes depending on how you want to start out. 3 hectares there. So what I've chosen to do, as I tend to in these tour first look series, is start out as I would just playing the way I like to play. So I've started on farm manager mode with $1.5 million, and I've bought a few blocks here. The blocks of land or the fields are fairly expensive. So, working up to something like field 6 at 3.2 million, 2.3 million, 1.5 million. So to get a big land holding is going to take a little bit of development, but I picked 4 fields down here for us to start with, a mix of plain, that's 76 is sort of a grassed area, with an undeveloped section beside it. Our house is just over here on the edge of 68. 61 has a weedy oat crop in it that's ready for harvest that we'll take care of, and 62 and 68 are unseeded at present. So what we'll do, it looks like we own 71 as well, which was unexpected because I didn't consciously buy that. Is we will jump in, and I was just, as I was getting ready, I just bought a few bits of equipment that I think fit the nature of our farm. I should have pointed out, we're up here at the store, right up in the top left-hand corner. So we're going to drive down to our place first up and have a bit of a look. And I thought one of the useful things to do would be to at least put in an auto drive course. So we're going to sort of go take the second roundabout on and go left and try and sort of find a way through that will at least give us a track connecting the shop. But that's the plan. So I'm thinking we'll be an older Massey style farm, which is the equipment that I've gone for. So let's just put our auto drive course dots on here. Let's just change a couple of settings there. Corner speed come down to 60. I want line height above the tractor. No markers, switch to markers, no. And where's the other one I like to set? Auto connect start, no. Right, apply that. See where we're going there. Turn you on again. Right. And we are recording, good. So, here we go. So we're just going to drive out of the store here. As you can see, it's a... Whoops. We've gone the wrong way already, so we'll just complete this as a loop around the store. There we go. Now, on the next time round, we will actually leave the store. So we'll connect you onto there, turn you off for a second. That's better. Right. There's now a loop around the store. And if we head out onto the roadway, let's turn our record on again. And connect you. You're going to be difficult. Oh, you need a direction. So now you should be able to put a curve on there to get us out. And which way do we want to go here? And we'll head down and around to the road down the side of the map. I'll zoom in a little bit. There is traffic on the map, so you can already see off to the left-hand side there's placeable areas at this part of the map, which are pretty neat if there's things that productions that you want to add. So the map makers put quite a lot of detail in, but at the same time also left plenty of places for you to build things out yourself. So it is a pretty well considered map. Now realistically this is a 2-lane road, so I should stay left with my auto drive course as I tootle down here. G'day Pleasant View, how are you this morning? Hope the animal feeding went well. We are on the Oaks today, a new British map that some of the guys looked at over the weekend and I thought looked pretty good. I'm just going to zip straight through here, I think. Looks like there's already a circuit here. So we'll turn that off. I'm in the UK, so I am definitely on the correct side of the road. I could also say the Aussie side of the road, although it does take a bit of practice, given that I've spent so much time in Farm Sim driving on the wrong side of the road. Hard time's good. I think it's the primary order of business for a YouTuber to be given a hard time. Quite appropriate. Now, somewhere down here is where I've got to turn, as I recall. As you can see, plenty of detail gone into setting this map up, and some pretty interesting field configuration. The hedges, for the most part, don't have collisions, which makes life a little bit easier, but this road's certainly big enough to be bringing out heavy equipment down, and although, as Argsy points out in his map tour, I've got to drive a bit more first person just because of the overhanging trees, which in themselves are pretty British. I've very much been thinking of a UK playthrough as well, Pleasant View. It's and I think this could be the map, so part of my thinking tonight was to sort of begin the setup for that. So I've started it with the best idea I've got for how I'd like to go about it. It's an X-Deer just run in front of the tractor. So it looks like we've got a bit of an AI spline down here. We just didn't have anything connecting from the shop, so that's handy. So being a 4X map, it's a little bit of a drive. It's 4X, PC only. So that's the PDA, and we are here. So we've driven, you know, a regular map's width, and we're going to here. That's part of the reason I'm putting an auto drive route to our yard, so at least I can get equipment ferried down. I tend to kind of prefer to do that when I play myself rather than use store deliveries. Now, did we want to go left here? Yeah, we probably did. So let's back up there a second. Turn record on again. And off we go. This is a bit of a narrower. That's such an English look for the pub. I've only been on here a little while, but gee, I like what I see so far. Lots of scope. The field entrances look pretty good. That's a big field on our left hand side there. Keep ducking under the trees. I haven't spent a huge amount of time in the UK, but the parts I've been to, I must say, looked a lot like this. Terrific. So when we've got this in place, next plan is to get the harvester down, and we'll get the oats off the field that we've bought. Now, where did I have to turn down here? Oop. We're there, so we're going to go straight across the intersection and then sort of veer right. That'll work. Welcome along, whoever's just joined us. Looks like I've managed to come a bit of the right ways down the one-way road. We sort of want to back up just a whisker, so there is traffic, as you can see. I have not turned that off yet. It's a fairly... Come on, back you go. We'll zip across here, I think. Down another lane. Bit of a castle or church up here on the right hand side. A few graves in the garden. As far as I know, Farmer Ed is doing an auto drive, or the auto drive creators, Farmer Ed is one of them, is doing an auto drive course, but given the size of the map and the fact that it's only been out a short amount of time, I'm expecting it might take a little while. In the meantime, I quite like doing my own courses. So we've seen sunflowers, grain that looks a bit like wheat. There's houses dotted through. They'd make a terrific multiplayer map. G'day, Jason. Welcome along. Great to have you in. We are on the Oaks, having a bit of a look and setting up for what might be a future series. I am finding this map, I've only been on it the last hour or so, and I watched a fair amount of FSG's stream and Argsy's tour, but I am finding it fun. I like the look of it, I like the feel of it. So I'm expecting to continue to enjoy it. It's a really good size. Now, where do we go here? I think we go right again. Yes, we do. So, sunflowers is not. This field on our left that's got no crop in it, but behind this house is ours. So field 68 just in there. Should try and keep left because this will be a 2-lane road. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I started playing Farm Sim a year ago, and so I've only played it on PC, and I must say I haven't been tempted at any stage to go to the console. I really enjoy it on PC. So this area just to our right is ours. So there's no field marked there. It's just some sort of meadow, I guess, that's undeveloped. There's a church in here, which is not ours. The oat field that we have to harvest is just to the right here. That is ours. And we're coming up on our farmhouse and yard, so we'll just pop in there. So this is the house that I picked. I figured for our that pile of mess out there is my doing. I'll fix that in just a sec. That's not a map error. Let's see here. I should have gone wide at a turn, but let's see if we can get in there. Get in the gate. There we go. And this is our yard. As you can see, our yard is a little bit of a mess, but we do have a drive-through shed. So that's part of what attracted me to it. I'm sort of seeing my scenario for this. We'll sort that out later. I'll just connect him off so that he closes. So I'm seeing my scenario here as where a farming family, it's been in the farm for a long time, so hence we've got a little bit of land. Let's see if I can fix up that mess I created. I didn't have a slip trigger, and I put one down that created a let's see here. We want to smooth that out maybe. Can I get you to disappear? There we go. Get rid of that. I put one down that created a bit of a mess on the road's edge there. So, right. Yeah, so there we are. We have a house. We have a doormat, which is our sleep trigger. Oh, that looks like my leveling. I put down the bus out of the Platinum expansion, thinking that it wouldn't mess with the terrain. I was wrong. So let's see here. Let's try and fix this up the way it was when we arrived at the house. That's a bit better. So now the house isn't floating as badly as I made it. Okay. So we're down here on the map, and we own these fields here. And I noticed a minute ago it said we owned that field, but we don't. Good. We just own these ones here. And we've got oats in 61 that we need to get rid of. We can put some sheds if we want on the edge of 76 here, because that's a big area and we can make another grass field. And there is a lot of grass to deal with on 76. So I'm sort of thinking our setup should be, our equipment is pretty old and dated. So hence the older Massies. I've got one larger one. I grabbed cheap butterfly mowers and then realised that I can't put a front mower on this Massey. An older New Holland harvester. What I'm hoping now though is if we drive, well, let's see if we can send it. That'll be interesting. Now that I've put I haven't given it I haven't named the other end of the course, but let's see if it'll drive there. Go back and just name that point. That'll do. So now, can we drive? To main yard. Let's slow you down on the corners, because otherwise you'll be a problem. That collision on that bit of the fence is just out further than I want. Come on. Oh dear. What am I hooked on? Something I can't see. So we found the only piece of hedge on the map that doesn't have, or that has a collision. Just get over there. What are you stuck on? I will straighten up that piece of course to stop it doing that. There we go. When I bring the truck out, we'll edit that bit of course. Hopefully it won't be too much of a problem. Even though I didn't spend much time thinking about it, I'm trying to sort of select gear that's sympathetic to the era and the location, and it's a bit more complicated because it's not necessarily gear I've used before. So let's just back up here and bring you a little bit sharper out of there so we don't get everything hung up on that exit. Now we want you to drive to the main yard as well. You will no doubt catch the combine. Can't tow anything behind me. Can I? Maybe I can. No. Won't let me. Right. So there we go. So now we'll go and rescue our other vehicles, which will be on the road somewhere. There we go. You're doing okay. Hopefully you'll stay out of the way of the traffic. And here we are back at the main yard. We won't worry too much about that. I'm not intending to spend all night setting the course up. We'll get on with harvesting our oat field. But you can, if I jump on, just to give you a sense of the map, and turn that on, we can, where am I? Get out of the, so you can see here the town, main township is built around a sugar mill, which is over to the south, which is a real place in Norfolk in England. There's a couple of churches dotted around the place, and there are several areas that could be farms. I've probably picked one of the least developed, but for the sort of a struggler, I like the idea that this holding might have been in the family for a while, and maybe they've been selling land off, and there's plenty of scope for a backstory. We've got a little wooded area, which the map maker's done quite cutely, so there's quite an impenetrable looking hedge around it, and then he's got this sort of wave of tree line up the middle that you can only really get a sense of from above. So there's quite a big grassed area in there that we could use for something if we want to. So that gives you a sense though of the geography of the map. So yeah, this is the grassed field grass and then planted grass. A big grass field that I was thinking we can make silage from, and maybe one of the things we do is put a couple of bunkers here in the side of this field and set up a bit of a silage operation to try and generate some good cash for our struggling farm. If we just go, which direction are we going here? North. So if we head up to the north, we'll just have a quick look at a couple of the other farms that are on the map. So you can see there's some big fields if you want to work your way up to it. But here's one of the established farms. Oops, want to go down. There are animals on lots of the farms. I decided that I wasn't necessarily planning to do animals if I go for a playthrough here. There's a huge, by British standards, silo complex on that farm. There's a cow barn there, another one here. So depending on how you want to play, another one of these grassy areas that's not developed, some more bunkers over here. So all of the pre-positioned farm areas have plenty of storage and sheds depending on how you want to play, and I think both FSG and Argsy noted that this could be a really good multiplayer map if you wanted to. And as a single player, just plenty of spots to start out and see what takes your fancy. Now, let's go and find our harvester. If we can. It looks like they're all clustered together, working their way. They're about halfway to the house, so just off to our left here somewhere. Where are we? Outside the view distance. Over this way, maybe? No, I've gone too far away. There they are. So our little convoy is making its way to the farm. One of the things that I've noticed just in the short time I've been on here, so you can see all of the placeable animal pens. It appears that you actually own those right at the outset, even though you don't own the land they're standing on. So you've actually got some cows. That reminds me, we need to go up to that one. If I can. How do I do that? I can't go there if I don't own it. But they're going to starve because they've got no food. Let's tag that place. Where is it? It's over there. So because it's a big map with a heap of work done to it to get it into this shape, and a first-time map maker, I would fully expect there'll be a few little quirks and kinks to work out. But I certainly haven't encountered anything in the short while that would bother me. So you can see here, this is the pen. So let's just turn off flight for a second. And pretty sure that that's the point for that map. I recognize that mod. And can we select these? Yes, we can. So like I said, we start out owning all these animal areas, even though in farm manager mode you don't own anything else. But what it means is, because lots of these are mods that are placed, you can, some of them you can go around and sell. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to set any of these up, there are quite a few things in the farms, not everything, but quite a few things that you can reconfigure if you don't like. And in the required mods, he's made really good use of some of the better mod developers packages with full credits. So they're sort of in the prerequisite list that you'll see on the itch.io page. There's a Lancy Boy shed, for example. So that's the general lay of the land. And this is what I mean. Each of the farms, it's got pre-prepared farm areas, got its own personality. So there's things that you can, I think this is the farm that FSG might have started on his stream on the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. But they're all nicely fitted into the map, so definitely worth a look if you're on PC. So let's see if we can find our harvester. Whoop, I've got fast on there, haven't I? Let's just turn that off as well, because otherwise I'll make everybody ill. Right. We're up here. There we go. We can see our equipment incoming. This is the field we want to do, so we'll stop the harvester on the way past here. And the truck for that matter. But I'm pretty pleased. I mean, that was, you know, I spent just a couple of minutes right at the beginning of the stream just putting that simple auto drive path in, and now we've got a route that equipment can follow to get from the shop. So because when I first tried to use the AI, whilst there is some routing on the map, there wasn't enough for it to be able to find, for a vehicle to find its way from the shop. So, and you can back up. Because if we do anything with you today, we're going to mow our grass up the top there. I could have started in any one of these houses, although if we look at the map, so we're right here on the corner. The way the farmland works, this house right here, well, these two are part of the centre and the verges, and to buy those is a $6 million proposition, whereas the place that I picked as a house is actually on the land that we own. So not all the houses, well, they're all on purchasable land, but they're not all necessarily the land that you might think. It's worth just checking. I'm not sure how to get into this grass field that we're going to cut. G'day, Argsy, how's things? Welcome along. Great to have you in. I'm just trying to work out how to get into our little field here, although it's not ready to cut. So we won't be doing that. I was just telling the folks you did a cracking job on your tour of this map. I'm just trying to add a little bit to it. I'm enjoying it. I really only discovered it when I saw on Replay FSG's a bit of his stream at lunchtime. I hadn't decided what I was going to do for the stream tonight, and then I watched your tour in the afternoon and thought, well, this might just be the British map I've been looking for. So it feels like a big Calmsden, and I deliberately never played Calmsden. Now how am I going to do this? Let's move this truck out of the way. I won't need you for the minute. But I've gone for a bit of a battler's start here. Well, not too much of a battler. It's like I'm cashed up. Yeah, let's just do this the easy way. betting there's a collision on that brick fence. The old 50-point turn with the harvester in the British lane. There you go. Jason McKinley, welcome along. And to me, Large Calmsden is a compliment because it's got a really good atmosphere, but there's lots of ways to play it. Whereas maybe I was a lot newer to Farm Sim when Calmsden came out. I was in awe of its detail and everything, but there were lots of aspects of it that I didn't like that you couldn't change. And this strikes me as having a whole bunch of the features that I like in a map, and being set in the British countryside, which I've been looking for. So, and lots of the other British maps I've looked at, it struck me they weren't finished, which I always find annoying. I mean, map makers put so much time and effort into them. You know, they just need a little bit more help to finish them off sometimes, but they're in such a rush to get them out there. They do themselves a disservice. But so far, my first impression, this doesn't feel like that. This feels like someone's put a ridiculous amount of effort into trying to make it work out of the box. So that's great. Yeah, and that's kind of why I started doing my version of the map tour through these streaming series, because I'm finding I don't realise how a map is until I've played it for sort of 6 to 10 hours. So I figured, well, if I can do that in a stream, that's a bit different. Even if that means we do a few maps over a period of time, it gives people an idea of what's finished and what's not. And it's not a critique, it's just you can experiment with how different play styles work. And I've got plenty of ideas for storylines, but I don't want to make everything into a video. So anyway, our battler's here with our older gear. Even though it's a bit shiny, it'll get grubby soon enough. And we're working our way on the couple of fields that are still left in the family. We'll get the oats off here before we lose them. There are quite a few weeds. Does seem we didn't manage to keep the weeds at bay. Probably had a bit of a cash problem. Couldn't spray. Didn't have the equipment to weed. Maybe busy trying to earn a crust. So there we go. Might have to do a bit of pruning up the side here if I've got to do too much harvesting, unless you're actually in the cab. There we go. It's a bit quieter in the cab as well. So we've got two Jasons in the house. And Jason McKinley, you get to watch the stream at not a god-awful hour for a change. So if there's any aspect of this map that anyone in chat would like to see and explore, just sing out and we'll go and do that. There's you know, I've got a a little bit of a backup plan of work to do to keep us busy, but it really is our first look at this map. Just get that headland around the corner. And just back on the for a second on the released unfinished stream, even though I've only been in the Farm Sim community for a year, it has surprised me how many people have rushed to bring old, like maps from old releases forward. I get that it's a lot of work, but when you get maps that were from older releases but they haven't actually finished the conversion, it's kind of like, oh, it's kind of the worst of both worlds. I would have thought for people that had played it before, it'd be annoying. Oops. And for a new person who has no idea what it should be like, why do I keep getting hung up? What am I getting caught on? Oh, it's a dirty great tree. So if you're doing a montage, Argsy, well, I'm expecting to see some of FSG's dissolving effects used liberally through your montage. You don't necessarily need to dissolve your logo, but I think some of those animations would be appropriate in whatever it is you're working on. That's okay. I fully expect real life gets in the way. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't discover something like this while I was working for a living, because it would have been a disaster. I would have found it pretty much impossible to do the job I had for a living and get interested in a community like this at the same time. Let me finish that bit by the door there. Now I'm thinking, based on the length of a lap, we should probably empty this sucker out. There we go. So we have our first crop off. I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it. I don't think our shed's clear enough to throw it on the floor. What's the sell price for oats? We do have some cash. We could put a bin down, I guess. It's not going to tell me because it doesn't know I've gotten it. Oats. Oh, that's not too bad. We could do worse than sell it, but let's see. Let's get it off. Whoops. Back out of there. Right. This is a pretty reasonable size field. I didn't pay much attention to how big it is. Almost 4 hectares. So not tiny. The one thing we don't have at this point is a baler for the straw. Have to go and get one of those. We can now that I've connected it on auto route, I wonder if the worker will be able to find his way back to the shop. Probably not, because I didn't make that top section 2-way. We'll see. For those that are fans of the regular screening of Newlands that I've been doing, that'll be back in about 12 hours time. So Tuesday morning Oz time, Monday afternoon, evening US and Europe. I will be back on our garden centre at Newlands, and I think in tomorrow's instalment we need to move forward and get the barley off. No worries, Argsy, really appreciate you dropping in. Thanks a lot. Those that didn't catch it and are liking what they see on this map, make sure you take a look at Argsy's map tour. It's really good. The cinematic opening runs for about 2 or 3 minutes, and it's just a joy to watch. So our yield's not terrific off here, not all that surprising, really. But nonetheless, it's crop, so we don't have any debt. I plan to keep it that way. There are lots of contracts available on this map as well, so if you wanted, we could go and do a contract or get one underway, run in parallel with the harvest. So that lap got me just over half a tank, so I think we will empty again. Need to get some work scrapes on this TX32. It's looking way too new. I wonder what sort of silos we've got. Oops, wrong one. Lamps, bins. Yeah, the lanes vary in size. So the one that's just at the front here is a two-way road. But for instance, let's go this way. I think. Where's the one here on the other side of this field? Here, that's a lot more Calmsden like. So there's a mix. There's ways to get yourself around, but there's also paths that you can get larger equipment down. So it's kind of a mix. And the hedges, most of the hedges don't have collisions, so if you feel the need to take a shortcut, you can, or move something around. So it's kind of a best of both worlds in that respect, I think. What I was just looking for though was, I don't think we would justify a silo complex like that. Might have to look around. I reckon our little yard would have an old... If there was an old beaten up version of something like the Unia, that would be really helpful. Might have to duck out and download something, I think. Something that's sort of a bit more in keeping with the sheds that we've got over there. Either that or we find a barn that's in that style out of one of the mod packs is it on the prereq list, and we add that and tip the grain on the floor, which I understand is I won't say normal practice, but it's not uncommon practice in the UK, apparently. Be it for me to comment on UK practice. I don't think that I've only been on a handful of farms in the UK. My visits have been pretty much limited to urban or regional city areas. I've got some friends that live on a farm just outside of Bath, which is beautiful. Whilst they live on it, they don't farm it. At least the fields out to local farmers. Anyone in chat watching the tennis? We have the Australian Opens into the first matches of the first night. Oh, dog's getting excited about something. So I'm interested in chat's point of view. If we, assuming we were to spend a little bit more time on this map, what directions would you like to see the farm take? My current thoughts are a few, to the extent that we can with older and smaller equipment, work some arable fields until we get on top financially, because the money we've got sitting there at the minute's a bit misleading. We'll go through it pretty quick. And kind of our main money drive, look at a silage operation, given that there's lots of cows on this map. So I'm thinking, and we've got a couple of very big areas that lend themselves, that either are grassed or we could fix up the grass production. So sort of a larger forage style operation with bunker silos, not a fermenting silo, is currently the direction. We could do some contracting as well if that was people's thinking, although I would probably look to put a constraint on it that we can only do contracts for which we have the equipment. So I've removed the option to take another farmer's equipment. Would be the scenario that I was thinking. Now, let's see how close to getting all the way around we'll do. Oh, that will just go up and down. We've certainly got enough space to turn around. No, I'm not a super big tennis watcher either, Jason. I'm aware of it because it's, you know, it's in your hometown, and my wife likes to watch it, so I kind of know what's going on. I can't say I really follow it. What we might do here is pick something like there. Well, that's the thing, we can do both. I mean, silage work will be intense grass cutting for a bit and then wait while it regrows and the like. Could do a small number of animals, bit more than you would have to be self-sustainable. Oh, okay. That's an interesting idea. I wasn't paying any attention at all to the timer, and so consequently it is now getting dark. Oats. What's the harvest window for oats? Is it a problem to us if we roll a day? Oats. No. Oh, and we've got disturbed British crop schedule on here too, so exactly, Jason Rowe. I am conscious of that. So, and particularly on a 4x map, it can be very easy to get stuck on your farm in just a handful of fields. So, well, why don't we're going to roll a day, so that we go back into the light. When I just get to the end of this row, we'll come back and empty out. And what we can do is have a look at the contract list, see if anything on there appeals to people, and if it does, to the extent that we need to add some equipment, we will do that. I'm hoping I've got enough variety of older style mods to sort of fit, but we'll make something work. We will make something work. Come on, get to the end. Yes. Just up. And back up there. We know we need to go to the shop anyway to get a baler. So, because we've got to do something with this straw, I think a baler is the best way to take it off. If we're going to have a forage silage operation, we would, I think, have an old baler at least, as well as a pickup option. So let's put you out there, bring you across. No worries, Jason. Thanks for dropping in. We'll be here until 9:30 Eastern. Also conscious you've just relocated internationally, so I'm sure there's plenty of things that you need to be doing in your house. And you're back at work. Right. So let's turn you off. Turn you off. Duck back over to the house. Ah. Yeah, that's AEDT. So if you're in Brizzy, yes, you're an hour out, which explains why it's dinner time, I guess. What time do I want to wake up? 7 will be fine. So let's go. Set your farm as a hay trader, selling silage, straw, and hay. Now there's an idea. Oh, I like that one, Jason Rowe. And that kind of fits. So if you sort of think, you know, pretty standard countryside, but if you look at our, you know, we're a bit messy and run down, and interestingly, I would have to go into the map to edit these out. I can't actually, I don't know if I can pick that skip up, but I can't landscape out any of the detritus in the yard here, which is not necessarily an issue. We can keep this bit of the yard looking the way it does and set ourselves up the street, because if we come back here, there's a good little spot, and through here is plenty of land that we could develop if we want to take out a handful of trees. So there's a spot there. Also, I don't know if you saw it before, but up the street here, and working on your idea, up on the other side of the church, we might be a good area for setting up that sort of a business. And I was in fact thinking, if I'm going to put a silo down, it strikes me that I'd be more inclined to pop it in here. Right, so we could get a big grass field going here, because this is just regular decorative grass, but still have very much a yard entrance, turning area for trucks, and then of course we've got the proper grass field already existing over here, which just needs another month on it. So let's have a look at the contract situation. So, because I am keen to show people bits of the map. I don't need to spend the whole time harvesting that field. So as you can see, there are lots of contracts available, some quite sizable ones because of the big fields. There we go. That's going to be a big potato contract. Yeah, I'm a fan of the start small and work your way up. I just think you don't have to make it a complete grind, which is why, you know, what I did when I started on farm manager mode, which gave us $1.5 million, which I pretty much spent on the land that we've got here. So just these parcels of land, and because on this map you actually still start with the equipment, I then sold off all of the starting equipment that the map maker gave you, and that's why we've still got a few bits of older equipment and $500,000 left. So if we now pick a contract to do, it looks like they're spread pretty much all over the map and all sorts of disciplines, mainly harvesting because of time of year, of course, but there are a few others. Is there anything in particular you would, or anyone else in chat would plump for at this stage? What's that sowing? Big barley seeding contract. See, that's not equipment I would expect us to buy. They're a bit large, so fields 49, 30 and 21, just as by way of looking at the map. So 47, 48, 49, it's not far away, but it's a pretty sizable field. 30 and the 31 are up the top here. They're a bit smaller. Yeah, they could be. Or one place I'm kind of heading to, I'm just looking if something sort of grabs my fancy. So I'm not beyond, for instance, say taking, maybe not the field 11 one, but what's field 41, this cultivating contract. We're obviously not going to have equipment like the big John Deere, but I'm not beyond, if it's not a ridiculous size field, having two small old style cultivators and our tractors and doing it with two tractors. I want, and my brain's like a sieve, it's just fallen straight out. What was that? Was that 41? Yeah, 41. Where's 41? So how big is field 41? 7 hectares. Well, that's sizable to do with a couple of small cultivators, but it's not impossible. And we could get them going on course play. Why don't we have a crack at that? That'll be a bit interesting. See another part of the map. We've got a couple of tractors. So let's have a look. What have we got in the cultivator? I don't want to go that. The trusty favourite is the Lemkin. What else have I got here? How big's that horse? 10.2 meters is too much horsepower. What do I need for the Lemkin? That's 5 meters, 225. I'm not even sure I've got 225. How big's that? The 5460, whoops, 150. What could we do with 150? So we've got to stay down in that horse range, don't we? 2.5 smaller than I want. We'd probably get away with the Amazon on the 150, and then what are you, 140? What's the little one? I just don't have enough selection, really. $36.70, $77. Oh, is there anything in the second-hand market? Let's see. The only reason I'm balking at the Axion is it's just a little fancier than I was going for. A little more modern. We got large and old. Crustal mash. I've only got modern. I really didn't spend a long time this afternoon thinking through the equipment side of things. Yeah, we could use a disc. Let's have a look at that in just a second. And we can potentially grab a 3670 as well to give us a larger second tractor. Discs. Converter. What are you? 3 meter. I could do take all day with the 3 meter plow. 5 meters, that's 170. 4 meter joker. Okay, so let's grab 4 meter joker. And the 5 meter Lemkin. And the 3670. But we won't put anything on it except the wheel weights. No. We'll put wides on it. Let's buy that. Okay, so now we've got 2 reasonable tractors. And the other advantage of buying that 3670 is that's got a 3-point on the front, which will run the mower that we've got. So let's head back. Let's drop that mower off here. And we'll everybody look away for a minute while we take a quick trip back to the shop. Because magically so we want to put you on the disc. Hold you up because on these lanes we're going to need to. That other one fold? Yes, it does. Good. You can lead. And let's go and accept that contract. So field 41 cultivating, we're accepting that. We're checking on the map to see where we're going. Out of the shop, first left, second left. Right you are, on our way. So this will do the trick. You can see, if you didn't see it before, there's quite a few placeable areas that aren't populated up here at the by the shop. So if you wanted to develop a little commercial precinct, this is ideally suited. We're right on the top right hand corner of the map, so we're right up here, and our farm is down here, so gives you an idea of how things are laid out. What I should have done before. Might enable me the lighting to be a little bit better. Around to the left. Peter, how are you today, sir? Welcome along. Hope you're well. We are on a new British 4X map. Unfortunately, it's PC only for you, but just having a look. And it's proving a bit of a joy, to be honest. Very interesting, looks great. Lots of good options. As you can see in this part of the map, everyone, there is traffic. And we've just taken a contract to do some cultivating, so we've got a couple of different bits of equipment. So we're going to give that a whirl. Field 41 still up in front of us. Some more local housing here. Just up on the left there is another repositioned farm area, I think. Big field, and in the distance, obviously, the edge of the map. It's a sizable field on our left-hand side here. Life would get interesting if you had a bit of large machinery coming down here with this traffic. One of those really big combines, or the trailed implements that don't fold. Now, where is 41 here? We are just coming to here, and we want to go left at this intersection. sign. Our other tractor is bringing up the rear. This looks like field 41. So this is another farm that we're just approaching. Here you can see the silo complex. And now I'm just looking for the gate that'll take us into field. It's just here. That'll do. Let's drop you down. So there's a couple of ways that we could do this. We've got follow me on at the moment. If I hold right control, right shift F, I can pick you, and what I want to do is move you the other way. 2 meters offset. I want you 4.5 meters offset, don't I? 2 meters for my implement and 2.5 for yours, I think. And I need to, before we do that, unfold you. Let's try stopping you first, drive you in. Unfold you. Pop you down. Oh, let's try V. Drive you on. Let's see how this goes. Oops. Help if I turn you on. Put you back on follow me. Now, let's have a look. You're going to do the right thing. Let's drive forward a little bit. Don't worry about too much finesse in the corners for the moment. Let's just get a couple of headlands on and see how we're going. So for those of you that haven't seen it before, we've got 2 different sized pieces of equipment. So a 4 meter disc and a 5 meter cultivator. And so what I've just done is put my trailing guy on follow me, and I just want to see how close. It's not too bad, actually. Now, if I wanted, I could bring him up a little bit closer. So if I went right control, right shift F and W, I can bring him into 10 meters, but you can see that's pretty good coverage. So now in effect we're ploughing at 9 meters. Now I'm driving one tractor and I've got my follower working, so I haven't had to set course play up. And in fact, I've never tried to use course play with 2 different size pieces of equipment, so I don't know how that works either. There you go. See, the newbie has a few tricks up his sleeve. It's not quite as clever as course play, but as long as you keep moving forward and you're traveling at similar speeds, you're not going to outrun your followers. And if you don't back up for the corners, so when we get to up and downs, you've got to run a racetrack pattern, and I find it easier to keep them on my right. But apart from that, it works a treat. And if you want to get really sophisticated, you could, you know, imagine in this configuration, you could potentially run a seeder directly behind, because you can play with the spacings, or you can run another like a plough ahead or mulcher ahead, for instance. Really only limited by your imagination. But it was kind of what I was going for when I was describing how I was thinking about this this map. Yeah, ideally you want your front tractor to be the slowest, that's correct. Because you're limited to about 200 meters, give or take. As soon as you get any further ahead, the worker in the following tractor just gives up. I think that also counts how many turns and things, so if you make too complex a course, it will as well. But as you can see, you know, we're progressing through this all right. I suspect, so if you were going to ask me to do course play, the way I would have done it is, or the way I would do it, is to set it up like this and put the front driver on course play and do 8 or 10 headlands, so that you're just going around in circles. With exaggerated width, so that you give the course play course the total width and an offset, but it would be fiddly. These fields are big enough that that's the sort of thing, if I continue playing on here in a streaming sense, that I expect will experiment with, but I would have to do some practice to just figure out the combinations so that I didn't tie myself in knots trying to do it while I was streaming. It's a bit taxing for the old brain. We're going back there. Yeah, we're out running him a little bit. But it's doing the job. Doing the job very nicely. And I forgot, what's the value of this contract? 40 odd grand or something, wasn't it? Where are we here? Oh, no. Yeah, no, 11 grand. So it pays for half of one of the cultivators, so not the worst decision in the world. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. Well, I see it there. Seasonal growth is on, yes. Days per month 1. Snow's on. Crop destruction's on. Ploughing's on. Field stones are off. Weeds are on. Dirt's normal. Trailer fill limits are on. We don't want AI workers buying stuff. Maintenance and paint is at 75. There we go. And he's almost caught up again. I just noticed the stones that we were bringing up. So I don't want stones when we get to doing our own fields. One aspect of the game that I find irritating. Well, it's just there's so many configuration options. I choose to do weeds, so I don't do stones. And of course, the other way we could do this fields is to... I've never tried running two courseplay courses on the same... two different ones in the same field at the same time, but I think you can. So you'd put them on single courseplay courses, one doing the headlands and one doing the centre. At least that's how I'd go about it. The other alternative is to draw two custom fields, kind of divide it in half and just to give each one of the custom fields in one half or the other. So, and of course the final way to do it would be for us to do the headlands and then just start a regular AI on a straight up and down course. And that would also work. But as you can see, this is powering through it pretty well. A bit different to harvesting. We have got dusty lands on, although I don't have it being particularly dusty. The reason I can't just put a regular worker on the front with follow me on the back is that as soon as it gets to the end, it'll reverse and that'll screw up the follower. At least if I put it on courseplay doing headlands, it'll and ground corners, it'll keep going around in circles. Yeah, they'll crash and the follower will get confused. Ooh, it's getting quite warm in here tonight. The day started off slowly, but heat's been building through the day. It's not hot, but with the lights on and the PC working hard, you can feel it. So we can, for instance, do something racetrack-ish like so. And all I've got to remember that I'm doing when I'm doing this sort of thing is that I've got that implement on my right side. Roughly parallel to the end. And watch your partner navigate across the field. We were steaming along and he was getting a bit further and further behind. Moderate smoko. So hopefully people are finding the map interesting. I certainly am enjoying it. There's lots of scope of things to do, as you can see from there's, you know, the full range of crops. Well, at least field crops are planted. I'm sure you could put grapes in if you really felt the needs, grapes and olives, even though they're not the sort of crop you'd find in this area. I'm not sure you'd find much cotton, but there's certainly plenty of cotton there. So lots of fields, lots of different sizes. You know, that big field that we drove past on the way down here would have been 22. It's that coming up on 40 hectares. That's a pretty sizable field on any map. And there he is. He's all caught up again, waiting patiently for me to resume. If you haven't used it in this way before, another trick you can play with, if it's a bit tight turning at the end, as long as you'd leave enough space for him to turn, you can play with the spacing between them to give you the ability to get round and out of the way, which can help sometimes, for instance, on corners. So if I want to, where's an example? How will I do this? Right, so at the end here, I can't go right necessarily. Because if I turn tightly, it'll be too tight for him. What I can do is I can turn as tight as I want this way, and as long as the spacing's there, I can get round before he comes through. Now that's what I mean by you can play with the spacing to slide him back a little bit without adjusting his offset. And he'll just follow the same path. So lots of little, once you start thinking about the problem you're trying to solve and how it works, There's lots of different ways you can do it. I have done if people are interested, there is a tutorial for Follow Me on the Steel Horse Station site under tutorials. You can go and have a look. Obviously, Follow Me is a PC mod, but if you're interested, you can have a look at that. You can do some neat things with harvesters and unload trucks and balers if you like to drive the harvester and get everybody to follow along. But there you go, we did 40% of that. So it's come along quite nicely. We won't finish it tonight, but no, like, no, I don't think console's going to get Follow Me, but well, it's just too hard. Sony and Giants could do a lot of these things if they wanted to put it in the base code. But they don't, and Sony and Microsoft aren't interested in script-based mods, generally speaking, on the consoles. So while that's the case, and I understand why, it's just not likely to happen. There we go. We'll get to halfway, I think. Well, exactly. And I don't really understand. I mean, in a farming simulator game, I would have thought in this day and age, GPS was kind of a standard agricultural function that would be in the base game, but not so far. The developer in me wonders if they're worried about the degree of complexity it would introduce in maintenance, but without looking at it, that's the only reason I can think of for them not having added it. Because, as I say, I just think it's a basic function. Well, there you go. I did not know that. I guess it makes a lot of sense given the size of the land and the shortness of population. I mean, you know, whether it's Western Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, even northwestern Victoria, I mean, there are some seriously enormous fields out there. That stretch of the Newell between Moree and Gundawindi, when you look at, you know, off into the distance, and you can't, I mean, there are no fences. They're just every now and again there's a little shed with an antenna on it, and just flat plains field and a mirage. It's quite extraordinary. Right. Why are you slowing down? So I'm thinking we're at the allotted time, so we might bring it to a close there for this evening. It's been great to have everybody along. I've really appreciated people dropping in. I hope you've liked the look of this map. I certainly have. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But we are going to call it to a close there. Where did we get to on that field? We made a good fist of that. What am I doing? Let's look at this one. 56%. So over halfway. So that's fabulous. So until next time, thank you very much. Appreciate you dropping in. I will be streaming again in about 11 hours time. So tomorrow morning Australian time, or the end of Monday afternoon, evening in the UK and US. So if you can drop in, we'll be on Newlands and catching up with our Maize Plus, and probably harvesting some barley amongst other things there. So we'll catch you next time. Stay safe. See ya. Thanks for watching.